I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight
for my brothers, we could go to war. Fighting for my father, I will give my life for. I feel so alone in this white man's world. Whip it in the kitchen, watch that white turn pearl. Standing on the corner, standing on my phone. Standing with my gangsters, but I'm standing on my own. If you said to me his own, split you like you need alone. Sacrifice my life, understanding each his own. Toast to the keys of success. Bel Air rose on my breath. I've been a student since '03, and we can fight till we see peace.
I fight like that, 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 I fight like that.
Let me holler at you for a minute, give you game. Real scrappy, love the bottom, Buddha bang. Trigger happy, and everybody in the game. You shot your family and didn't even know it, man. Same rules, same code, with a different slang. Struck him out, now they took him out the picture frame. Mama, don't cry, we gon' get by. 2 weeks later, got killed in a drive-by. Why must we fight amongst each other? Reach one, each one, teach one, my brother. I teach them how to fight on the grass and in the class. Snoop Dogg, all stars, yes sir, they coming fast. D1, football, we won. Now proud of my son, Lil Snoop, yes sir, cause he won. Right on, SC, fight on. We 100, keep it coming, dip, slip, slide on, light on.
I fight like that, 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 I fight like that.
Watching the warriors, the story of the rebels. You from the ghetto, then you know never to settle. I'm shooting common on the streets, I'm a pharaoh. Battling in African-American apparel. Fists on a t-shirt, youngins doing street work. Grinding till they teeth hurt, that's because they need work. Working till the feet hurt, trying to get my soul right. Used to be on old bikes, serving them that cold white. Wars in the winters, the block is hot in summers. Today's mathematics, we know it's strength in numbers. To the bosses and the runners, the hustlers and the stunners. We fight for the hundreds, we fight for the oneness.
He fights with the heat. He fights with the sleet. He said, I am who I am. I can't be beat. Nobody has won a war against me.
I fight like that, 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 I fight.
Talk to me about these fake assets and what do people have to know about them? We were talking about my history in the crisis. I remember in '98 when the Russian ruble crashed. Jim Rickards, our friend, was at Long-Term Capital Management. I was trading derivatives at Bankers Trust and the First National Bank of Chicago. And I saw them out there, and everybody wanted to do business with Long-Term Capital. It was a big hedge fund, and it nearly went bankrupt. But
LTCM nearly took down the world economy.
Yeah.
One hedge fund.
One hedge fund with these quote-unquote fake assets.
Well, because nobody took into counterparty risk to it.
Right, and they were highly levered. because they were these rocket scientists, right?
They were Nobel Prize winners.
Yeah, Nobel Prize winners, Myron Scholes, and then one of the big guys from Salomon Brothers.
John Merriweather.
Yeah, Merriweather, who was in that book, Liar's Poker.
Yeah.
They went out there, and on their reputation alone, they didn't have the balance sheet to back it up. They got 20x leverage, 30x, 40x, 50x leverage, and they had massive positions. And when the ruble moved and markets moved, not only were they about to go bankrupt, but all the institutions that had lended money to them were about to go bankrupt.
The counterparty.
Yeah, the counterparty. And I saw this happening, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But how can you explain that to people? And then what do they need to know about fake assets to protect themselves, especially from this upcoming crash or crisis that's going to happen?
Can I give you a very simple?
Please.
Okay, I think I got it. This is, because I like to, Rich Dad is important because I keep it simple. Okay, this here is a balloon. So in 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. So what did that mean? That meant the U.S. government, the U.S. Treasury, could now print money. So the U.S. Treasury would sell a bond to the Fed. Over here would be the Bank of England, Bank of Japan, ECB, and all this. So in 71, it was the U.S., not anybody else, basically screwed the world economy. So rather than fix the economy, they just did this. So things were fine. They fixed the economy. Inflation went through the roof. There's a dollar sign on it and like this.
They're pumping money into the system.
So 87, there was, the real estate, everything's getting expensive. Inflation's going crazy in the 80s.
Right.
87 crash, big crash. Did anything happen? No, nothing happened. They just. So 87, it went like this, and then there was the LTCM plus the Southeast Asian crash, the rupiah crash, and all this.
Yeah, in the end of the 90s.
So what did Greenspan do? It was the Greenspan put, right? He says, "Oh, don't worry. We'll give the banks all the money they want so you won't crash." So the banks and Treasury and the central bank, the Fed and Bank of England, they're like keeping this thing up. So everything's inflated now.
They're pushing money into the system to prop it up every time.
Fake money.
Fake money.
This is fake money
Right.
going in. So then in 2000, the dot-com crash hits. Goes. So Greenspan kind of panics and he says, "Oh my God, we better keep this thing going," because that was a pretty big pop,
Yeah, I was there.
So 2008, that's when everybody was into derivatives and pumping this baby up, and it did nearly come down. We had some Lehman came down and Bear Stearns was wiped out, and it was like this. So what did Bernanke and those guys do? More. So after 2008, they just kept pumping it, and it's getting worse. So now we have the stock market, this one area of the economy, all-time highs, floating on fake money. Real estate, I don't know how people can afford to live. In New York, I was looking at a condo for $55 million. Real estate in Silicon Valley, you can't afford to live there. And then all these companies started borrowing money, so the economy's good, and unemployment's low and all this. They say there's no inflation, but have you seen the price of food, real estate, and student loans and medical? It's a bubble, So now what's going to happen is the baby boomers, my generation, are going to start to retire. There's no money there. Social Security is broke, pensions are broke, the students are broke. They're screwing everybody with debt. So let me ask you a question. This is
making me nervous.
I know. This is called, not economics, this is called bubblenomics. But they'll never teach you this in school.
And why do they keep printing money? Because they want to save something.
Because it's an addiction. This is like heroin. The moment you take that one hit, they say, "Okay, I'll quit next week." And the economy gets worse, so they go. Trump gave us a tax cut in America. This thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what happened in 2008, they stopped it by printing money. So they call it the Great Recession. But they didn't really fix anything.
Right.
Derivatives went from 700 trillion to 1.2 trillion today. twice as much. And that is net, that's not, doesn't tell the whole story. So when the recession hit, the PhD standard came in. That was Bernanke, and then Yellen. The PhD said, they have PhDs. Well, it's no different than long-term capital, LTCM. They had Nobel Prize winners, people like my poor dad, academics, So anyway, this is what's going on in the world economy today. So the baby boomers are going to retire now. Student loans are bust. So do you have to be an economist to say what's going to happen? Because we're fighting a 12-year war now. Entitlements are going through the roof. National debt to GDP is 109 in America, 109%. 90% is too late. We have to keep printing now. So this is called bubblenomics, and this is what's going to happen. Got it?
I got it.
Is that economics 101?
Scary stuff.
It's happened throughout history. And that's what I would teach.
Ready for evolution, ready for revolution. Y'all know what time it is. This is your brother and friend, Brother Eric Teray Muhammad, reaching out to you through the world of cyberspace. I want to thank you for joining our page and joining classes in session. It is definitely in session, for we have a special edition for you all. And so many people are chiming in so fast, I can't greet everybody right away, but we're going to make moves to make sure that everyone that we can recognize is recognized. And I want you to know it's indeed an honor, a privilege, a pleasure to come before you with this very special edition of our broadcast classes in session. This is our 20th episode since we began this encounter every Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. I know it's before freedom hours for a lot of us. A lot of us aren't up because we don't have to be. We sleep until we get tired, then we get up and get started whenever we want to get our day going. That's the power of being free. But it works for me. It's sort of selfish because I talk to New Zealand, who's 16 hours ahead of us, meaning it's always the next day when I'm talking to them. And I speak with the Philippines and the UK and Belgium in the morning. So I talk with those teams there in the mornings, and those conversations go on at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 a.m., because that's 10, 11, and noon in those respective areas. So we're about a world movement. And if you haven't yet calibrated your brain to be a part of a worldwide movement, then you need to get a deeper understanding of what you're involved in. And that doesn't come by osmosis. It doesn't come by you operating in isolation. As a wealth builder, we're a collective, we are a team. Now, everyone has every team sport has a playbook, right? You make the team, you go through your tryouts, you show your physical prowess, you show your skill set by which the coaches and the talent scouts say, you know what, we can utilize that on our team. But you don't start right away, because you have to show that you can adapt to a system. You got to move into a playbook. You got to be able to follow the rules of the playbook. And along with that, you got to follow the general practices of calisthenics. Make sure you're stretching, make sure you're limber, make sure you don't do things that injure yourself. You exercise the muscle, the brain power. You create the camaraderie, you build the teamwork, you know your role and you play your position, and your position helps to enhance the position of others because it's team. So that's where we are and what we hope to offer you today. We want to offer you a dynamic that is so special and so significant to the opportunity that many of us are already a part of, that I think you're going to find it quite worth your while. So class is in session. We're talking about putting the team in freedom. That's what it's all about. And as a member of Team Freedom, you need to know that this is a Team Freedom production. So with that being said, we're going to do the first housekeeping note rules. Have you paid yourself first lately? Have you paid yourself first lately? Pay yourself first, folks. There's a future there that will thank you later. You have the power right now, every day. If you just save yourself a tenth of a gram of gold, if you just exchange some of this trash, cash, paper, declining paper, for its weight in gold, do you know what kind of future, what kind of leverage you have created? Some of us have organizations, teams of 10 people, 15 people, 2,000 people, 15,000 people. If everyone just saved a tenth of a gram of gold today, you know how we can recalibrate the entire world? If we saved a gram of gold today, do you know that we will reset the entire economy within our organization? 10 people, 10 grams of gold. 100 people, 100 grams of gold. 1,000 people, 1,000 grams of gold. What kind of leverage does it build when you're dealing with that, exchanging that paper dollar into the power of the asset? And then with the exponential growth attached to it, there's nothing that you cannot do. There's nothing you cannot touch. There's no change that you cannot affect because you'll have the vehicle by which to do it. So with that being said, we're going to move into our program. We're putting the team in freedom, y'all. That's what it's all about. That's absolutely what it's all about. And I want to introduce you to this dynamic team. We have Team Freedom. This is a mastermind collective. These are the original members of Team Freedom. And you see that power couple there to your left? You know, that's brother Kevin 2X Thompson and his wife, Sister Shelby Casey Thompson. And they are Team Freedom. They are the ones that are finding real educated entrepreneurs to help develop others to a millionaire mentality. And I'm honored and privileged to bring before you at this time our brother and friend, brother Kevin 2X Thompson. Are you there, soldier?
Yes, sir, I am. How you doing, beloved?
Praise be to Allah. I'm blessed and highly favored and all that good stuff. You know,
Yes,
brother, thank you so much for the honor of being available and sharing with us in this dynamic. And talk to us a little bit, man. Give us a backdrop of the team and how it was organized and some of the things that you hope that this discussion will accomplish today.
Yes, sir. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, beloved, for the honor of being able to come on this esteemed platform with you and so many wonderful and amazing individuals as I'm seeing folks chime in. Thanking you guys. I know it's early. It's definitely, well, it's the actual opposite for me. It's late for me because this is generally when I'm winding down to be able to go and get me some rest. This is how I, typically love to really live behind the platform of saying, I wake up when I'm finished sleeping and I go to sleep when I'm tired, and it's about that time. So I'm not responsible for what might happen today on this platform, beloved, but I'm just letting you know this is what commitment looks like, because normally if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for the love that I got for my brother, we understand that the revolution is definitely necessary. So when a brother calls, I answer and respond. So I'm grateful to be here, and I thank you for inviting me. Let's get right into it. I actually was trying to screen share because right there when you was talking about to pay yourself first, I was literally on my website. I woke up this, I looked up and I checked in, and I see that our amazing company paid us early. And I was super excited because I live by the standard that I would never ask you to do something that I don't do. And I usually try to be first to put, to be the one to get it done. So I was paying myself first. Every time, they, deposit for me, I deposit for myself. And so I was in the midst of that transaction, and I was going to do it live right here and let folks know, what I'm saying? I'm a product of the product, and that's what we got to get in the habit of doing, making sure that, if we put in the sweat equity, that we save a little bit for ourselves forever. Great minds have made that reference. So I'm here, beloved. Let's get it. Let's kick it off. Let's let the people know what we do.
Yes, sir. Now, we've been very, for lack of a better word, fortunate, or just straight up blessed, because we were introduced to an opportunity that we couldn't have found on our own. And knowing that and seeing where we are today, it adds and increases the value for me, for sure, of what the nature of this is all about. And when you talk about success, when you talk about freedom, and there's three aspects of it that you've helped me to understand over the last year, almost 2 years. And you helped me to understand the financial freedom that is available and achievable. You helped me to understand that location freedom is absolutely attainable and achievable. And you helped me to understand that time freedom, which we would probably see first before we see the others, was just as valuable and sacred as it is the gold as an asset and the creator that created it. So with those elements, can you share with your audience the value of what we have and why we shouldn't sleep on it, but just basically stay woke?
Absolutely, beloved. First and foremost, all three of those components that you talked about are absolutely priceless. And I mean, you know, any one in the hands of its beholder is extremely valuable. But to be able to combine the three is what we feel and what we believe is an absolute birthright. You know, for a person to be able to have, you know, financial freedom, to be able to have what's, you know, necessary to take care of himself and in their family, you know, it's a birthright. You know, nobody should have to struggle with the idea or the thought that they cannot, you know, maintain or sustain, you know, their environment. But then to be able to have, you know, time freedom, you know, to be able to do the things that are essential. You know, most individuals are waking up, you know what I'm saying, behind that 8 ball, chasing the clock, you know, have already hit the snooze button or whatever the case may be. They jump over breakfast, you know what I'm saying, to end up jumping on the beltway, you know, to go to a job that lands them just over broke, where at the end of the month, it's a whole lot more days than the money that is existing. And so, you know, it's very important to be able to have the time freedom and then the location freedom, which really puts the icing on that cake. You know, you got to ask yourself the question: if you cannot go to the airport and look on the roster and say to yourself, I think today I'll go so and such a place, and be able to order yourself a flight the same way that you would order yourself a meal in a restaurant, then perhaps you don't have the location freedom. See, most of us don't have that opportunity because money is an issue. And even though we understand that money is not everything, it just happens to be up there with oxygen. You know, just hold your breath a little bit long, and you know what I'm saying, and you'll see what it means to not be able to have what's necessary to function naturally, and that's finances. So to be able to have all three of those components combined is definitely our birthright, but it's an honor to be able to live in that sphere. You know, it's something that we got to be thinking about how to obtain.
You know, in our discussion briefly yesterday, and shout out to Brother Khalito Muhammad here, California Radio in the house, not strong, but strong island.
My brother.
In our conversation yesterday, you cited a reference to Brother Mark Pius, who's also on the stream. And Brother Mark, you know the rules. Please put in your link for the Financial Academy of Education. I think I got it, but brother, please do it. Al Murray, great to see you. Brother Jamil. In our discussion with Mark, concerning Mark Pies, you cited a revelation in his commentaries in a YouTube presentation you watched of his. Can you expound on that just a little bit? And when we're talking about what the tenets of saving gold or cycling could actually do for a person?
Oh, absolutely, beloved. I mean, see, we have this component in our system because, see, a system, being a part of a system, it stands for save yourself time, energy while you make money. It's not about reinventing the wheel. And when you come into that component of the system that we have, there's this thing called a dual team payout. And the dual team payout, what it does is it pays you for the growth of teamwork. And I always like to give the reference to it like sitting in a rowboat, me and you, Eric. I'm on the left and you on the right. I got my paddle and you got yours. But see, if I'm doing all the rowing by myself, then that boat gonna go in a circle and we ain't gonna get nowhere. But if both of us put our cooperative economics together and I'm rowing and you rowing and I'm rowing and you rowing, then that boat can go straight down the stream. Well, in our dual team system, meaning having a person on your left and a person on your right, or better, a team on your left and a team on your right, when our system recognizes the algorithm that there's 20 points on one side and 50 points on the other, doesn't matter which side, it'll pay you what we call a dual team payout. And I was listening to our brother Mark, and he said, the way to become a marketing millionaire in carrot bars was to be able to get 22, I believe, dual team payouts per day. At 22 dual team payouts per day, that would yield you $1 million per year. And it was so profound when he said it. He said, because then he broke it down and he said 13 of those payouts will pay you $500,000 per year. He went as far as to say that 7 per day will pay you $250,000. And if you just had 3 will pay you over $100,000 per year. And it shows the simplicity of teamwork, and I was like, wow, man, just blew my mind because, sometimes we don't realize that those dual team payouts, when it starts to happen like an electric meter, meaning that individuals have gotten involved with your business and you've shared the opportunity and you've told people, listen, just save gold, and you have gold savers and they're acquiring our business package. Those points that come from, or we call them units, that come from those transactions create that cycle, that dual team payout. And the simplicity of that, it was just mind-blowing. 3 can pay you 6 figures annually. I mean, to just get to the simplicity of it, bro, it was mind-blowing. Our system is amazing. And I mean, if you don't understand, if this information is brand new to you, get back with the person that invited you to this platform and have them share with you exactly what a dual team payout means. They'll look really good on you when you have them.
It will well. That is true. So let me ask you to share a particular experience. Now, many of you in the world of wealth builders, my personal story. Not so much being a son of freedom fighters, not so much of just being active as a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and active as a contributor to the Final Call newspaper, but the story of coming to this opportunity. And many of you know that I always claim that I've been tricked. I was tricked into this, and that I always talked about how this intervention came on, where I call it the triad of righteousness, because my wife talked to me about a meeting a week ahead. And I said, okay, I'll be there. And I was fortunate to be there in between the 90 hours of working a week. I found a way to get in that particular Tuesday, and I set up the little laptop. I should have known something was up because my daughter fixed coffee. That was sort of strange for me, but it was pretty good. You know, and I cleaned up the laptop and I'm getting myself prepped because I'm under the assumption, my own assumption, that this was something directly related to the labor on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, on behalf of the final call. But this was my mind working, because when I'm called to things like that so far ahead, I know that it's normally an assignment or a task that I'm being asked to perform. And so when Brother Jamil popped on the screen and Sister Jai Muhammad popped on the screen, and then Brother Kevin popped on the screen, I said, what the hell is this? No, straight up, I didn't clean it up. I was like, what the hell is this? But you know what my wife said? She said to me, Eric, just listen. And I was so upset, really, with myself, that I had a hard time getting myself out the way. So I was like that spoiled child on a ball field when you get to pick the sides and you don't get the people on your team you want. You don't get the game or the direction. You don't have the home court advantage or the home field. I wanted to pick up my bat, my ball, and glove and just step off. So I stepped out of the screen. I mean, Brother Kevin, you share better than anybody that I've known. Can you share a little bit on that experience?
Yes, sir. Well, from my vantage point, brother, it was an amazing meeting. And I could, I've been taught in this industry. I've been, doing this now for, well over 20 years. And as a matter of fact, that was a thing that hit me when you said this is the 20th episode. That 20 really, sets precedent with me, because this is actually my 20th year in freedom. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother seminar. But that day when you came amongst this platform, brother, I read into your body language, and my years of training taught me, okay, this brother has, he's feeling a little bit of, reservation. You know how they tell you that, when you get into a meeting and a person crosses their arms, it means they closed out, and I didn't get the cross of the arms. I got the shoulder outside of the frame of the video. And, and so, but Brother Jamil Muhammad did such an amazing work, him and Sister Jai Muhammad, in just kind of creating the relationship and, laying down the platform of what we call edification. When they introduced me to that conversation, that I just spoke to your wife. I spoke and I appealed, understanding that you were within, voice reference, because I could see your shoulder. And so therefore, I felt that if any of the information that I was sharing with her that evening would just resonate on the right part of your shoulder, that we would be able to mesh and gel together and do some amazing things. But one of the profound things for me was that your reputation had preceded yourself. And so what nobody knows was that I was in very great trepidation in having that conversation with your wife, because I knew how serious that it would be in getting or landing, as we say, a fish like yourself. And so I was very particular with the way that I spoke of the details of the business that we represent. And I shared that delivery. And what ended up being, multiple hour conversation, as we kind of proceeded in the conversation, I started seeing your body shift to the right. And then a little bit more started shifting to the right as you appealed into the frame. And then all of a sudden, I got that infamous, hold on for 1 minute. And the computer went mute. And I saw you and your wife, and the hands was moving and the conversation. And I started texting Brother Jamil saying, okay, brother, they cooking the sauce now. And then when you came back and said, yes, sir, brother, you have my attention and we need to have a further conversation, I think this is something that we both need to join to do. I was very humbled. and very grateful. And here we are now, just a little close to 2 years since then, with an amazing organization. You guys having so many people that you have brought and delivered this message to it, and me seeing your growth in the delivery of this information has just been so humbling. And I thank you, and I thank Allah, and I thank, the brothers and sisters that have been adjoined through you for helping you to become a great helper in me and Team Freedom with showing people this platform and this way of getting to the other side of the bridge. So I thank you for that, brother, and I'm grateful that it all worked out the way that it did.
All praise due to Allah. Now, talk to us about Team Freedom. How is it organized? I refer to you as the tri-founder, in the leadership and of the originals. And can you give us a little backdrop and what thinking went into developing this awesome opportunity, this team?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Team Freedom, for those that don't know, freedom is an acronym, and it simply stands for finding real educated entrepreneurs to help develop others to a millionaire mentality. And it was a brainchild of, something that I thought about in terms of a mission. And it was a mission statement. The bottom line was that the destination was trying to get free from financial slavery, free from time slavery, free from, being able to be, go where you want and do what you want, all those different things or what have you. But how could you get it knowing that, in my tenure, I was like, man, you can't do this by yourself. So I wanted to create a platform by where, we look for the real educated entrepreneurs, because there's so many people out here that think they in business, or they claim that they doing, the work, and they don't have the commitment level. This is the part where we kind of turn up, Brother Erkin. I mean, I got to deliver the truth, because and sometimes the truth don't, sit on the right side of people. But see, when you in the struggle of advancement, you want to know the information that's going to get you further along.
Mm-hmm.
And for those ones that really want the truth about it, see, we looking for the real. And if you notice, and every time you see our acronym printed, real is always in capital. It's the emphasis that's placed there, because you got so many people that think they entrepreneurs, but they can't even direct or teach you out of a wet paper bag.
Mm.
They don't tell you truthfully that they just overbroke themselves. They couldn't teach and train you about entrepreneurship, but because they got this brick and mortar building, they in business, hey, it looks good. But everything that shine ain't gold.
Teach.
And so we wanted to create a platform that brought those real entrepreneurs together with a commitment of finding some other individuals and helping them develop their mindset to a millionaire mentality, not about the money, but about the thinking and the way that we have to process what we do like millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And then go beyond the million to the billion and to the trillion, but starting with a platform. And so we came about with one of my major partners, Brian Battle. Him and I locked arms, and then, my wife, Shelby, she jumped in as the glue to that situation. And we had the other individuals that you showed in that amazing photograph that helped us jump out and start the journey, especially under this platform that has now, since February 23rd of 2017, presented us to sit with over 20,000 individuals that represent 19 different countries in this world, the group that we call Team Freedom. And so it was an amazing journey, and has been an amazing journey. And we're continuing to run for that freedom, with those like-minded individuals. So that's where it all started. It started from that vision. These amazing individuals that you see here on the platform, it was fun. I mean, you know, to have, you know, individuals like Ronald and Kay Coleman that stood by my side, you know, individuals like Jeff Thomas that, you know, has held on and you know, presented the work that we see. Because when you put this type of movement together, you can't do it by yourself. Martin Luther King, he had a team behind him. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he has a team behind him. You know, individuals like, you know, I mean, just, you know, you could run down the whole list, you know. And so to have individuals like Kimberly Henning, you know, and Jay Seymour and the amazing Jamil Muhammad, you know, to help us to put this program together, it was fantastic, you know, as we journeyed. And I'm grateful to say that all of these amazing individuals that started with me are still to this day running with me.
Go ahead.
And I'm honored. I'm honored to be the one that they push to the front to say, hey, we follow you. So, yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's look at this now. Let's look at approaches, techniques. Okay. There's so many people who are enamored with instant gratification that we divorce ourselves from the bedrock of actually saving gold. Prime example, we were under a particular incentive that took us to Dubai, Madrid. We went to Cape Town, South Africa. We were in Germany, you know, as gold director elites in their conference. And it's taken us all these places at the expense of Karatbars International. We're not coming out of our pocket, you know, because there was a foundation behind what we did. We save gold. We tell people. We save gold. We tell people. Some people get a package to accelerate their income, but the bedrock was saving gold. The money was coming so fast for a lot of people, commissions, we're talking family, that we abandoned the bedrock of it. And then we found ourselves in a ebb or a low, because without the bedrock in place, we saw our commissions or our income sort of waffle. It got sort of volatile for some, you know, because the bedrock, the foundation was abandoned for instant gratification. And then we wanted to blame others. I'm speaking generally, figuratively. We wanted to blame others for our missteps. So Brother Kevin and I had a conversation last night about commission breath, where people can sort of smell you coming. And they can determine the genuineness of what you represent. Can you speak to the bedrock and speak to the attitude by which we need to maintain ourselves? I'm going to show this little slide at the same time.
Yes, sir. Well, in essence of that, you know, this is where humility kicks in, and being able to have conversations with individuals, because we all suffer from that aspect of trying to, you know, reach this information. And it's funny that people feel like they doing you a favor, you know, when you know, and you know, this information is so phenomenal, you know, because you can get a free account and people don't understand that they're saving their own money, you know, but they feel like when you bring them the information that they doing you the favor. And this is where we come to this conclusion about, you know, people feeling like they think they know what you about to tell them about, and they try to shun away as if your breath is sour. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear that information. They don't want to know, nah, I'm good over here. You good? How you good? And you know, your 401k just got smashed by the economy. How you good? And you know, you don't even have, I mean, see, I had a conversation one time with a young lady, and I said, you know, she said her 401k was solid. And I said, ma'am, if you're not sitting on $1.2 million today, you couldn't even retire today and live the next 20 years. Just do the math. And see, a lot of times it's emotional in the conversation when people think that they know what we're talking about. And this is not what's happening. But we have to have the humility and be able to drip on individuals in a way that, number one, they have to understand that you care. Because people don't care what you know. No, they don't care, all of that. They want to know that you care about them. And so in the conversation that you bring forward and how you deliver this information, it has to come from the platform of caring about their own personal situation. And that's why I love this company so big, because in what we do, every individual can have their own selfish connotation. But your selfishness allows my business to grow, while my selfishness allows your business to grow as well. And what I mean by that is that as I'm talking to individuals about the savings platform and it builds up under you, it helps and puts money in your pocket, while at the same time, you're doing the exact same thing. And that's the type of cooperative economics that we need. That's the support that we need. That's how we need to deliver the information, by letting folks know, number one, you're putting crippled dollars in crooked banks. I'm going to say that again. Crippled dollars that we're placing in crooked banks. I mean, just to understand that when you think you're saving your money, but the bank is utilizing your money for their own gratification, not yours, because the national average to your savings account is 0.9%. They only had the audacity to give you 1%. Come on, man. But then when they lend and loan out your money, they put interest on it, 10 and 15 and 20%. Y'all know what I'm talking about when you get that car loan and it's 15% interest, sometimes 20, that credit card with, 9 and 10 and 12% interest. Who do you think is collecting on that? Not the owners of that money. And so therefore, we have to be more conscious of the economy within our own homes. And that's why we teach people to save in gold, because gold is an appreciating tier 1 asset that appreciates over time, where you keep the sweat equity and hold on to that foundation. So yes, sir, brother. I mean, it's a important means for us to be able to, deliver this information so people are not pushed back. So that people will listen and people will hear what it is that we have to say, because this information is so vital, especially in an economy that we living in today.
Well, let me share this real quick with you. When he says tier 1, folks, tier 1 is a tier. It's a platform by which money is determined to be an asset, but what type of asset? Tiers come in degrees. Okay, it's stages. And gold, since the Basel conference and declaration back in 2009, it was being considered as a tier 1 asset. And then they proposed it in 2010. They moved forward in 2011. They ratified it in 2012. But 2013, it became, in fact, a tier 1 asset. Tier 1 means no risk. That means you can utilize this precious yellow metal to settle all debts. And so, but it's coming with conditions that people are researching now, because it's gold. People want to include ETFs. People want to include other certificates. People want to include other elements, which does not really reflect owning the precious metal. And gold, however, ownership of the gold restores and leverages your ability to pay, to resolve, to clear debt. Tier 1 is no risk because it is debt free. You see, and when you look at terms like investments, as we did yesterday in our previous program, and we looked at risks, right, and defined both. And then when we looked at assets, we were able to show you how a pure asset historically and etymologically, I worked on that just for you, Brother Jamil. I know you're watching. Etymologically, it is designed, meaning asset, is designed as the only substance by which debts can be resolved. But it has to be a pure substance. And tier 1 is a pure substance. It's not a diamond. It's not gems. It's not fine art. If you run a blade through fine art, you've damaged its ability to provide. If you chip the diamond, you ruin its value. Gold is just as indestructible as the God that created it. You cannot quantify the power of gold. And this is why there'll be no cap on it in a few days, because as you saw in Mr. Kiyosaki's platform and presentation earlier, this balloon is at burst level. Let's look at the slide here and give a little commentary, if you will, brother, regarding the strategies that are involved. How do we abandon that desire for instant gratification and get to the elements of sticking to the basics, keeping the main thing the main thing? We talk about commission breath in this slide, and we do, out of some humor, we created a slide called Gold Wash. And Gold Wash is Wealth Builders Worldwide approved. It kills commission breath and lack of cash flow, used by more than 100,000 of us worldwide. Its active ingredients are dream, desire, determination, and discipline. Talk to us a little bit, brother, and excuse my my desire to be comical.
Yes, sir. Nah, we need this type of softness to the idea, because you know, it in essence is exactly what has to happen. As you can see, that those ingredients, the first ingredient and the most active ingredient has to be that you have to have a dream. You got to be able to dream big, understanding that this is a tier one asset in a foundation by which you can become free. But then also you got to have a level of commitment that is unwaverable. Because when you talking to individuals who, you know, I mean, all of us have had that conversation with the person that we just knew was going to run with us. Mm-hmm. And when that person say, man, you crazy, man, I seen those types of things and they don't work, and it just deflates you. You got to be able to have a level of commitment to keep pushing through, you know, to be able to have determination, you know, as an ingredient. I mean, it goes without being able to be said. Your why as to this has to be so much bigger than another person's ignorance. I'm going to say that again. Your why has to be way bigger than another person's ignorance, because in this, it's just understanding that people have gone through a process of learning, but now we have to unlearn it and be able to relearn it. And that takes a mindset shift. Because sometimes people think that they know, they think that they good. They think that the careers that they're going on, you know, is going to take them and lead them to that freedom. And then they don't realize it until now it's time that their body starts to not perform like it used to. And when they look up and they say, man, 30 years is behind me and I'm still not closer to where I really want to be. And now you got to start thinking about what you're going to do in the next phase or the next chapter of life. Mm-hmm. And it becomes to that place where the disappointment to say, man, I've put in all of this sweat equity and it did not yield me exactly what I was thinking. And that's because of the programming that we have, where they haven't taught us the science of money. They haven't taught us the science of business. They didn't want that for us. That's why the educational system was put in place the way that it was. I was mind blown a couple of weeks ago when I was reading some information and realized that it was the Rockefellers that put millions of dollars behind Spelman University, Morehouse University, Howard University. You know, I mean, they say to you, if they won't treat you right, what makes you think they're going to teach you right? Mm-hmm. And if they're putting millions of dollars in the platform of education, what is the education that they want you to learn? What is the ulterior motive of them financing such a platform? And then we end up on the other side of it, not knowing just the bare minimums and the bare basics of financial economics. Why is that? You got to ask yourself that question. And so it's super important to be able to have, you know, this repellent on stock all the time. It, you know, it definitely accessible in your pocket, in your purse, so that we can have this conversation with as many people as we can to let them know that you got to pay yourself first, and you got to do it in a asset that stores value.
Yes, sir. Well, family, we're about to wrap up. I'm going to run through some quick announcements, and then I'm going to ask Brother Kevin if he would bless us with some closing comments. And we really appreciate his time because he's winding down to get his day ending, as many of you are now winding up, turning up to get yours started, as I see it. You know, I want to give shout outs to Brother Jamil Muhammad, Brother Maurice D, Sister Edith, the Diva Smith, Ruthie P. Pike. Good to see you. Trina Purdue James, you and the Bob. That's what's up. The James gang. Ronald Newton. Sister CC Mahone. Let's see who else. Tiffany Sutton, Bishop Ernie Sutton, Renee Gant, Irvin X, Anthony Granville. Good to see you. Good to see you, family. Al Murray, the coach of coaches. I want to thank all of you for chiming in. Lola Lodi, Denise Brown. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. So many are here. Brother Kansu Hotep Atum. Good to see you. It's just a lot of folks here. I apologize if I miss you. I have older eyes now. Oh, and thank you all for your birthday wishes. I'm still going back through them, trying to answer everyone. It is indeed an honor to be loved and appreciated and well wished by so many, and I don't take it for granted, you know. But okay, Jamie Crawford Muhammad, good to see you. Mark Pius, the man, the myth, the living legend. Mark, please include your link so we can see where we are and understand the benefit of handling our taxes as a benefit to us, as opposed to looking at it as a cursing. Deidre Seymour, thank you so much. And let's see, that's about as far. Oh, Satoya Stacy, Alicia, my mentor, Michelle. So many, Brother Kyle X Brown, glad to see you. Billy Bibb down in Tuskegee. Let's run through some very quick announcements. And thank you all for being a part of this great opportunity with us here on, I forgot the name of the program already, Classes in Session. Okay, this is Wednesday, y'all. It's our hump day. All right, so it's the power call. This is where the dream is inspired. This is where the dream is motivated. This is where it's enhanced through the education you receive through it, through the commitments that are received, and the celebration of others. So we have the Browns today, okay, the real Browns. Willie and Sherry Brown are on. And of course, tonight at 10 p.m., we have the Freedom Call with Mr. Tyrone Best. That's tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, and then that's USA Eastern in www.goldrocks.info. You don't want to miss that. And then, of course, we're here with Kafani Radio tonight. We have on our Kafani Radio Facebook page, 9 p.m., we have Dr. Aleem. We have the 19th Element with Dr. Aleem, Abdul Aleem Muhammad, and Brother Mustafa Muhammad as the co-host. And of course, they give weekly updates, everyone. Have you heard in the news how now they're talking about 30 different strains and how it's affecting infants and how it's affecting elders? And this is what Dr. Aleem shared with you weeks ago and showed you they don't have a handle on this. They cannot get a handle on this, and it's impossible. But think about the group economic. Just imagine wealth builders coming together, and 100,000 of us, and we gave 1/10 of a gram. That's a whole shipment of hazmat suits. That's a whole shipment of medical supplies. That's a whole shipment of testing equipment, real testing equipment, and medications at cost that we can fly in on our own planes. What is your dream? Because in order to really build wealth, in order to really leverage yourself successfully with wealth, you have to be a servant leader. You have to be willing to reach out and reach down and help, because you can't really gain if you don't serve, share, and attempt to save a people. And that's where it's at, okay? So those are my brief announcements. Well, that's not all the brief announcements. We have the 90-day run to wealth. That begins, we launched that on the 26th of May. The 26th of May. And what do we do in that 90 days? We show you how to set yourself up for success, invest in your own future. We show you how to work out a budget from home and show you how to amass wealth through the simple rules of paying yourself first. And when brother closes out, I hope he talks about the 100 in 100. Okay, the information, how you log on or get into the 90-day run. Okay, you just simply text 404-246-5708. You need to include your full name, your email address, and the message 90 to receive the details, and receive the package that's involved with this 90-day run to wealth. Okay, the decision is yours. We can't make you wealthy on your own. There's steps that you have to take, and only you know how far you want to go. So, Brother Kevin, if you would, just bless us with an understanding of the campaign that we have in Team Freedom and any closing comments you'd like to offer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. First, I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to give a quick shout out to our amazing mentorship, Mr. Michael Delco and his lovely wife, Monisha. An amazing salute to Mr. Tyrone Best and his wife, Valerie Best. Thank you guys for laying the platform down so that we can have the framework of being able to even have this conversation. And I'm so humbled to be able to be here. I want to thank you, Brother Eric, for being so diligent and having a communicational tool to let our people know and our teammates know of a system to be able to acquire financial freedom. And one of those components is an incentive that we just put into place in Team Freedom called the 100 in 100. And for the last several days, we started back at the end of March. We put it out there where Team Freedom is getting behind any new individual, any existing individual that wanted to start the run for 100 days, sponsoring one new individual a day on our auto exchange program. And the first person that makes it to that 100 is going to be gifted an ounce of gold from us here at Team Freedom. And it's amazing. If you want the details of that, check our platform, get back with the person that shared this information with you if you want to be a part of that run. Can't nobody beat free.
That's right.
And the best blessing of a tier 1 asset is when it comes free. So we're here to bless some individuals that want to run and with that challenge, 100 new affiliates on auto exchange in 100 days, and that ends on July, I believe, the 5th. But stay tuned for that information and those details if you want to be a part and you want to get in the running for that free ounce of gold.
And I'll be sure to pass you my my CarPay info, and you can just drop it right there, brother.
Hey, as soon as we see the credentials, brother, trust me, we're going to ding that bell, and somebody's going to be a proud winner of that ounce of free gold. But last but not least, bro, I want to, say to the new listener, the person that's probably hearing this information for the first or second time, if you have any type of doubts or resilience or hesitation to the information that you're hearing, do yourself a favor and do your due diligence. Don't allow someone to be the author of the information that ends up wrapping your destiny in their hands. Do your own due diligence, sift through the fake news and understand exactly what's going on. Trust in the person that introduced this to you, because they may see something in you that you may not see in yourself, to be able to become a part of this family that we have of freedom fighters. I mean, we're here to launch this campaign and to be able to do it, but the commitment comes from you. The discipline comes from you. That's not something that we can give you or teach you or train you. It has to be something that's developed and inherent in you yourself. So dig deep, ask yourself the question, am I committed or am I just involved? Back to you, Brother Eric.
Thank you, dear brother, for those words. And again, family, we appreciate the ability to share with you today. Keep in mind the power call today, the presentation at noon, as well as all of our programming this evening. You can find the Quarantine Life I do on my YouTube channel at 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday as well. Sometimes there'll be live programming there. Other times there are pre-recorded messages there. But subscribe, like, and share. We'd appreciate it. And of course, you can find our wealth building groups on LinkedIn as well as Facebook under the names of Eric Teray Muhammad. Brother Kevin, thank you so much for the honor of having you here. Wow, it's just been an amazing opportunity. Family, share it with everyone. And when you share it, put your link on it. Put your referral link. Have people get back to you and get back at you, because they are reaching, the world is reaching, and they need to know how to be found. And then, of course, we have the programming with Thursday, that's tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, with Robert Kiyosaki. And for those of you who have not yet become a part of that, you're welcome to be a guest of mine. Just text there, send your full name, your email address, and the word wealth, and I will send you a link that will give you exclusive platform where you'll sit live and direct. It's not a YouTube presentation. It's not an audio book. This is the man himself who has been saving gold since 1972, saving it when it was deemed illegal. Now, he didn't know it was illegal at the time that he started. It was illegal for us to have the gold. But now, here we are in a whole new world, a whole new dynamic. And he said something very interesting that we shared yesterday. I just want to share real quick, Brother Kevin. He talked about as a fighter pilot in the Marines, right? In the Marine Corps, how he had to practice crashing his plane. He had to literally practice crashing his plane. And the significance behind it, he ended up actually crashing 3 times, but lived each time because he prepared himself for an eventuality. Here you have, just as sure as people have abandoned the standard of gold, the standards of silver, and you found that this cash system just continue to elevate. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And just in the rise of that, it created the fall in something else, the stealing away. But now the fall is in and the rise is coming to the power of the asset that only God can put in your hands. So with that being said, I appreciate your family. See everybody on the power call, 10:45 Eastern. Nighty night, Brother Kevin 2X. Thank you for the sacrifice, brother. Family, we are out. Thank you again.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. You're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll
fight for my brothers. We could go to war. Fighting for my father, I will give my life for. I feel so alone in this white man's world. Whip it in the kitchen, watch that white turn pearl. Standing on the corner, standing on my phone, standing with my gangsters, but I'm standing on my own. If you said to me it's on, split you like you did alone. Sacrifice my life, understanding each his own. Toast to the keys of success. Bel Air rose on my breath. I've been a student since 03, and we can fight till we see peace.
I fight like that. 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 I fight like that.
Let me holler at you for a minute, give you game. Real scrappy, love the bottom, Buddha bang. Trigger happy, and everybody in the game. You shot your family and didn't even know it, man. Same rules, same code, with a different slang. Struck him out, now they took him out the picture frame. Mama, don't cry, we gon' get by. 2 weeks later, got killed in a drive-by. Why must we fight amongst each other? Reach one, each one, teach one, my brother. I teach them how to fight on the grass and in the class. Snoop Dogg, all stars, yes sir, they coming fast. D1, football, we won. Now proud of my son, Lil Snoop, yes sir, cause he won. Right on, SC, fight on. We 100, keep it coming, dip, slip, slide on, light on.
I fight like that, 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 I fight like that.
Watching the warriors, the story of the rebels. You from the ghetto, then you know never to settle. I'm shooting common on the streets, I'm a pharaoh. Battling in African-American apparel. Fists on a t-shirt, youngins doing street work. Grinding till they teeth hurt, that's because they need work. Working till the feet hurt, trying to get my soul right. Used to be on old bikes, serving them that cold white. Wars in the winters, the block is hot in summers. Today's mathematics, we know it's strength in numbers. To the bosses and the runners, the hustlers and the stunners. We fight for the hundreds, we fight for the oneness.
He fights with the heat. He fights with the sleet. He said, I am who I am. I can't be beat. Nobody has won a war against me.
I fight like that, 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 I fight like that.